haunted houses, cursed forests, eldritch nightmares, etc. The horror genre is well known for many things, and in 2025, where 4K is the norm, it's more detailed than it's ever been. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRank, the top 20 horror games of 2025. Starting off with number 20, it's Pathologic 3. Ice Pick Lodge is back with Pathologic 3. And this time, you're not just racing against time, you're also bending it. I don't know if you're bending it against... You're not bending against time, you're bending time. So you're a doctor, you diagnose patients, impose quarantines, and you attempt to outwit a plague that is as philosophical as it is lethal. Except, now you have a time travel mechanic. That's what makes Pathologic 3 different from the past two. Moving on to number 19, it's Macabre. Yes, a word that absolutely none of us as children pronounce correctly. Many of us have pulled a macabre. No shame in that. Macabre drops you, and a couple of trustworthy is probably not the right word, but pals drops you into a time rift where the timelines blur and a shape-shifting horror stalks your every move. WeForge, the developers, are calling this a stealth extraction horror game. Less about firepower, more about sneaking, strategizing, and occasionally sacrificing your teammates for the greater good or for fun. Like I said, trustworthy, not necessarily the right word. Macabre is currently in early access. I know extraction is a naughty word, but it's very its own thing. I'd highly recommend giving it a shot if it sounds interesting at all to you. And number 18 is Carnival Hunt, an asymmetric horror multiplayer game that's in development. Basically, you're either a bunny or a carnival monster. The bunnies got to work together, and they have kind of a genius little force you to do things mechanic. The bunnies are wind-up toys, and they have to work together to keep each other wound up, while the monster hunts them to recharge its own energy. It's kind of difficult to have any staying power in the genre, so having a little thing to force people to work together more, I like that. This was a game that they had said they were going to release in 2023, but it's supposedly coming out this year. They've done some alpha tests, and they're going to do some beta tests soon, so it's an interesting one. We'll see. And number 17, The Bournless, set on the eerie Farmouth Island. This free-to-play horror FPS brings you PvP, PvE, but more importantly, rituals, demon summonings, and supernatural foes, along with the human ones that you will fight, of course. You have a 3-phase gameplay loop: looting and exploring, performing rituals, and then hunting or being hunted, which is honestly super refreshing. It's a different thing. It's like a 1960s Lovecraftian black magic faction building horror shooter. I realize that's a lot of words, but it is actually a unique game, and it's one I'm absolutely going to try out when it comes out later in the year on PC. At number 16 is We Harvest Shadows, which is kind of Stardew Valley meets Silent Hill, if that makes sense. Granted, it's not like a pixel art game. It's a first-person, single-player horror game that's also a farming game. So it's a weird juxtaposition, this sort of tranquility of rural life and psychological terror. But what you're doing is the same stuff you're doing in Stardew Valley. You're fixing up your house, you're caring for livestock, you're exploring, finding resources, etc. But at night, obviously, you have to defend those things. It's a super interesting looking game, and it's coming out late in 2025 on PC. There's a demo currently available. I would really recommend it because it's not like anything else I've ever played, really. And yet, there's a lot of familiarity there, too. It's one of those types of games. And number 15 is Subliminal, a psychological horror game inspired by The Backrooms. It's The Backrooms. It's The Backrooms. Oh, you've heard the meme. Oh, you've seen The Backrooms, too. It's an Unreal Engine 5 Lumen nanite, very realistic, very non-linear, handcrafted, what they're calling light and perspective-based puzzles. And then there's manifestations of fear and despair. It's The Backrooms. It was going to come out late last year, but they had to delay. It's listed as coming soon, supposedly sometime this year. Subliminal is coming to PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and also VR. At number 14 is The Lost Wild. Tell me if this sounds a little familiar to you. You're in a lush, overgrown research facility where dinosaurs roam freely. Yeah, kind of sounds a little like Jurassic Park, except for it's a survival horror game. I mean, I guess Jurassic Park is kind of like the equivalent of that as a movie, so maybe, honestly, this Great Ape Games video game is going to be interesting because, guess what? This is not a first-person shooter. You are not going to be overpowered. This is a stealth and evasion game. You got distractions, like flares and stuff. That's your weapons against dinosaurs. It's an interesting looking game. One I'd like to try. It will be out sometime this year on PC. At number 13 is Subnautica 2. Basically, it's Subnautica on a new ocean world with 3 friends. That's right, 4-player co-op. Yes, that's going to be fun. Don't tell me that's not going to be fun. Subnautica is a great game. You're going to be exploring mysterious ruins, building custom bases, facing off against big old predators. And this time around, it's not just a base you can build. You also have the ability to modify your DNA so you can evolve your character to meet the planet's conditions. Subnautica 2 is going to enter early access on PC sometime soon, and then also on Xbox Series through the game preview program. We don't have a confirmed date for PS5 or Nintendo Switch, probably Nintendo Switch 2, given it's an Unreal Engine 5 game. Looks a little bit heftier than something the original Switch might be able to handle, but yeah, coming soon. Gonna be cool. And number 12, it is Ill, a narrative first-person survival horror game developed by Team Clout. This one is touting itself as intense body horror with a detailed dismemberment system. It's also had some pretty chilling trailers and comes off pretty ambitious, which sometimes does give people pause. Obviously, I think you trust people until they give you a reason not to. I hope Team Clout is able to deliver on this because honestly, if it's good, fantastic. If it's BS, I mean, that's only the 500th BS game with a great trailer. Ill is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series sometime this year, hopefully. Moving on to number 11, it's Deathground. Basically, Alien Isolation meets Jurassic Park, right? It's developed by Jaw Drop Games. It's a solo or up to 4-player co-op where you're battling against dinosaurs. So, developers have gotten the memo. Dinosaur game time. I'm taking it. This game is a survival, stealth, teamwork-oriented type of experience, which I think looks interesting because co-op Alien Isolation just on its own sounds fun. That's a completely different experience than Alien Isolation, but then you throw in dinosaurs, and yeah, I think yes. It's going to land in early access sometime later in the year. The developers expressed interest in bringing it to PlayStation, Xbox, but we haven't heard anything, so keep your eyes open. Moving on to number 10, it's quite a ride. A pretty interesting idea for survival horror. Puts you on a bicycle. You're basically navigating a foggy, changing rural landscape. Basically, as you pedal, you recharge your phone's battery, which is essential for receiving messages that may help or hinder your escape. I think this is a really cool idea because there's not really anything else quite like that, at least in description. It's also inspired aesthetically by the works of Stephen King in the 80s and 90s. Of course, not anything recent from him because it seems like that well's completely dried up. But hey, quite a ride. Doesn't have a confirmed release date, but it's coming to PC later in the year. At number 9 is Broken Lore Low, a psychological horror game that takes place in an eerie Japanese village called Kirasamemura. Somehow, you're a woman whose music career leads her into a labyrinth of supernatural horrors. The village itself is haunted by the Gashida Kuro, a giant skeleton from Japanese folklore, and the game's environments repeat and change, and it's interesting. They have a demo. I'm going to say try it out. It's a weird one, and I think that if you like the demo, you'll like the full game. It's not like an expensive game either. It's $8. Regularly, it's on sale as well. It's good. I mean, it's a good one. It's only out on PC, though. No consoles. And number 8 is Blight Survival, basically a co-op action horror roguelite. You and 3 friends play as mercenaries sent to chase a blight, which is a supernatural plague which is turning corpses into ravenous monsters. Zombies, if you will. You got melee combat, stealth crafting, and some light extraction elements, it looks like. Looks like it leans a lot on Dark Souls, though, which I like. So, like, if you combine Dark Souls with Escape from Tarkov, basically. Maybe. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. The game's currently in pre-alpha. They're planning on some closed playtests. Hopefully we'll be seeing this one this year. Blight Survival's coming out on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series again. Hopefully this year. At number 7 is the Dark Pictures anthology, Directive 8020. Kind of a really different piece for the Dark Pictures anthology. This one takes place in space. This is the first episode of Season 2 of the Dark Pictures anthology. You've crash-landed on a planet where an alien organism capable of mimicking its prey turns you and your crewmates against each other potentially. Now, this is also the plot of the game Prey, of course, to some extent, not necessarily entirely, but it's pretty close. It's just that these are very different games. They're very plot-driven, they're very narrative-driven, and for whatever reason, they're clearly making money. Prey, a friggin' masterpiece, hasn't been able to apparently capture the amount of eyeballs required to save its studio. But hey, Directive 8020, I have a feeling will not be the last thing that Supermassive Games makes. I'm not making fun of it. Like, I like their games sometimes. Sometimes they're a bit of a dud, but they're a good dev that when they have a budget, seems like they're pretty good at what they do. We do have a date for this one. It's coming October 2nd to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. And number 6 is Tormented Souls 2. Because who needs eyes when you have nightmares, right? Carolyn Walker returns to the sequel to this cult classic horror game. She embarks on a harrowing journey to save her sister Anna from a mysterious affliction and, haunted monasteries abound. This game promises a blend of intense combat and intricate puzzles, and intends to stay true to its old-school horror roots. It's coming to us via Dual Effect, and it's slated for release this year on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series. And number 5 is Sinking City 2, the sequel to the Lovecraftian horror from Frogwares. This one actually changes up the game a bit. The first game was about detective work and stuff, but now the city is just completely devastated by a supernatural flood, and you're going to be needing to explore and face off against eldritch horrors in a semi-open world. There is going to be detective work, but it's a lot more optional this time around. There's going to be puzzles, which give you alternate options, lore, and secrets, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, the first game, I think, got a bad rap unnecessarily. I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel, although I'm a little hesitant based on the fact it's a pretty different sounding game. It doesn't mean they can't pull it off, and I have confidence in them, but still, later this year when it comes to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series, I definitely want to see how this goes. And number 4 is Industria 2, picking up the ongoing story of Nora, who is stranded in a parallel dimension, one dominated by a malevolent AI. You have an interesting journey in front of you with intense firefights, oil spills, crafting, physics-based interactions, upgradable weapons. It looks pretty sweet. I actually didn't play the first one, but based on what I'm seeing of the second one, I'm absolutely going back to it. It looks cool. Industria 2's landing this year for PC. Moving on to number 3, it's Reanimal, coming to us from the creators of Little Nightmares. This is a co-op horror adventure game where you play as a brother and sister navigating a hell version of their former home. So there's boats, there's land, environmental puzzles, grotesque creatures, stuff that represents their troubled past, as of course one might expect. It's interesting because you got both single player and shared camera 2-player co-op, which I think is super interesting. I like that more games are doing that. I mean, it's not like a huge departure for Little Nightmares or anything, but stuff like It Takes Two and that type of thing have really popularized that format. Now, I'm really happy to see it. Reanimal is coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch 2 this year. Moving on to number 2, it's Silent Hill F, which takes place in 1960s Japan. The F stands for fog. Actually, no, it doesn't. I'm just saying it does. Why not? There's a lot of fog in Silent Hill. This is a super interesting thing because, well, Silent Hill is basically not based on any traditional anything. It's usually not set in 1960. It does look really pretty, though. Like, the colors and the ideas that they've shown us are I mean, they look like Silent Hill and they also don't look like Silent Hill. You got traditional Japanese elements in there as well. It looks cool. It's in development for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. You could pre-order it currently, but we don't have a date. I would assume not terribly far off, though, given the fact you can pre-order. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. And finally, it's Chronos: The New Dawn at number 1. So this is a third-person survival horror game coming to us from Bloober Team, which, as you know, were in charge of the recent Silent Hill 2 remake that we all know and love. This one is set in a retro-futurism world. Eastern European Brutalism is the name of the game. And it's interesting because we see a story play out between 1980s Poland under martial law, which is an alternate history timeline, and a dystopian future that I guess is probably downstream of that. It's interesting too because you can't just defeat enemies and leave them there. If you're not properly disposing of them, they can combine and become bigger, scarier baddies. I don't know, it's a different looking game, but as we all know, Bloober Team has kind of proven themselves. I know they needed to prove themselves, and they did. So this is kind of like bring me more Bloober Team stuff. It's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC later in the year. I got a quick bonus here for you as well. Little Nightmares 3, tag team terror of very subtly named protagonists, Low and Alone, as they trek across a new realm called the Spiral. One's got a bow, the other's got a wrench. It's one of these atmospheric horror platformers, and it comes after 2 honestly great games. We don't have an exact date for it, but it is coming this year to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter and book me on Cameo at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.